Welcome to the Houston Hustle, the podcast that spotlights the movers, the makers, and the doers shaping the city we love. Each week, we sit down with Houston's top entrepreneurs to talk who they are, how they built it, the principles that drive them, and what success means beyond the highlight reel. This is Real Hustle, real stories, real Houston. Welcome to the Houston Hustle. I'm Dr. Paige Ward.
And I'm Dr. Charlie Ward.
And today we have our guests, Robert and Christine Prohl, with Lair Comics and Fantasy. So,
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for being on the show.
Sure.
Tell us about who you are, what you do.
Wow. You want to start or you want me to start?
You.
Okay. Well, we own, like I said, like you said, Lair Comics and Fantasy. We're a comic gaming store in Houston, Northwest Houston. And we also have a tavern in the store where we serve beer, wine, and food. So
Called the Tabletop Tavern.
Called the Tabletop Tavern. Imagine, if you will, anything nerdy. So everything from board games to miniatures games, paint, Pokemon, Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing games. We carry it all. And
all tabletop games, no video games, no.
Right. Kind of our goal is to get you out from behind the screen.
I love that.
And then we have a play space. It's about a 4,000 square foot play space with both open gaming tables and private rooms that you can rent. So we have events in there every night of the week. There's always something going on.
No, it's very cool. We have been there and like
coffee.
So you can play Warhammer and have a beer while you're doing it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, your guys' store is like a whole vibe. And
thank you.
The artwork is very, very cool. If y'all haven't been there, you absolutely need to go and check it out. But definitely a community that you've built too.
Yes, that's why we built it.
Okay.
Because, we were thinking about doing it, for over 20 years.
Okay.
When I was in the Navy, I used to go visit all the comic and game stores and think, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And it just took a long time to get there. But we built it for people to play. Everyone from, it makes me happiest when I see someone in cat ears and a rainbow tail playing Magic across from a guy in a 3-piece suit that just got off of his law firm job.
Yeah, it brings people together.
Yeah, and that's what makes me happiest is when we have, when the game room is rocking and we have lots of people in there and they're all enjoying this kind of common denominator that brings everybody together.
No, for sure. So you said this has been something that's kind of been in the works for a long time. So tell us about how it got started.
You really want to know that? Well, Chrissy and I have been married for 26 years now. And when we met, I was in the IT industry. And we were living in Austin, and the IT market the Austin economy just collapsed. And they were all service-based businesses. So if I quit buying AC service from you and you quit buying security services from her, and the whole place just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And my dad said, well, you're in Austin, go back to college. So I went back to UT and finished my degree, and then I went to Rice and I got an MBA, and then went back into IT, running big IT departments. And then I did something stupid and embezzled from a former employer and went to prison for 6 months. And I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to run away from it. So after getting out, nobody wants to hire an executive that is stolen from a prior employer. So we didn't know what we were going to do. It was a pretty dark time. And when my mother passed away, we got a small inheritance. We put every last dime of it into starting Dragon's Lair, our store, our franchise store. And originally it was 4,000 square feet. We had no idea what we were doing because it was a retail store. We'd never run a retail store, but we taught ourselves very quickly.
Sure, there was a learning curve to that.
There was a huge learning.
I wasn't working with him then. I was still in my massage practice, so I didn't have any retail experience for sure.
Yeah.
No, so I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And she said, oh, okay, let's go. So we learned really quickly. We taught ourselves a lot. And it was something I always wanted because I always thought it would be really interesting to turn the dials, flip the switches, see what works, see what doesn't. And I kind of became a student of retail philosophy, read a really great book called Why We Buy by Paco Underhill. And he's a consultant that works with really big retailers like Nordstrom. And they said, well, he studied that if we have this display that's in this location, what happens if I move it 15 feet that direction? And sales would skyrocket. So he has all these real world examples of how to merchandise and how to treat customers and stuff. And so we learned quickly. There were lots of rough patches, but so COVID happened, and COVID shut down her massage practice.
Oh, wow.
I had been doing it for, I'd say over 25 years, between 25, 28 years. And I was kind of getting to the point where I wanted to slow down anyway, getting a little burned out. And then COVID happened, and I was like, well, this is a good time to kind of just segue out of that and go in to work with him. So.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a lot of toll on the body.
Yeah. And I did deep tissue neuromuscular therapy, a lot of soft tissue rehab, worked with chiropractors a lot, and PT departments and stuff like that. So it was very physical. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we were in Austin, she worked on the Longhorns. She's worked on runners, athletes, and So we decided she was going to come work with me.
And we didn't know how that was going to go.
We were terrified. Like, wait a minute. So now, or even, I call it when I blew up the universe. Mm-hmm. So pre-blowing up the universe, I would go to work and come home, and we would see each other in the evenings, and it was a, typical, fits nicely in this box marriage. Mm-hmm. And, she's going to come to work with me, and we're going to be together all day long. What is that going to look like? And she became a really quick study in how the business ran, how the business worked. She has a much better set of soft skills than I do. I am driven and focused and always looking for the next improvement. And she has much better interpersonal skills, soft skills, deals with people, employees a lot better than I do, truthfully. And so it was a really good addition to both the store and the company, and it's I think made our marriage better too. So
we've always worked well together on projects, so we can just like a giant project.
Yeah, big old project. And
we don't drive in together every day. Like he'll go in really early. He usually goes and works out at the gym like early and gets there early before anybody else. Then I come along later after I, have my morning coffee and walk the dog and stuff. But so it's not like we're, driving in together and driving home together every day and that sort of thing. We could do that, but
no,
it's good to have your routine,
yes,
your schedule though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's one thing she's always emphasized since we met is, we're going to be married, but we're always going to have our own interests, our own lives too.
Yeah, I've never played D&D.
You did once.
I played a role playing game.
It wasn't Dungeons and Dragons. What did you play? Monster of the Week?
Yes.
She played Monster of the Week and didn't really like it. But so COVID happened. She started working at the store. It was really great. She started doing all of our social media and signage and marketing. And it was a nice dovetail because, truth be told, all the nerdy stuff in the store is really my interest.
Yeah. I really got into dice though. And when we started out, all of our dice was just the little cubes in a glass case right next to the POS. Mm-hmm. So people had to ask to see the dice that they needed to take it out of the case because we were worried they were going to get stolen.
Oh, yeah.
I had to steal. But people really want to look at it and touch it and shake it and, take them out.
You got to test roll it too.
Yeah.
If it sucks or not. You have to try it out.
So
perfect roll.
I'm
buying
that, right? That. And so we took it out of the case, but within shot, I shot of the POS, you can watch it. And it was just like an end cap. And then we grew it into, much bigger shelf space. And then we got our own dice made for the store, custom made for the store. And we went from, little end cap to giant 6-foot table stacked full of sets of dice. And then I wanted to have what I wanted to call Dice Paradise. And I pictured it like the jewelry counter with the lighting and the displays and just like this whole display of dice that you could take out and show somebody when they wanted to see it, because to me, dice is like an accessory
Yeah.
to your character. A lot of people want to match their dice to their character. They get a new set of dice every time they start a new game. There's different dice for different games. There's, all kinds of stuff. So I was like, we could go far with this. And it's just grown into this huge section of the store now.
There's only one thing we didn't get to do is we got a disco ball.
Oh, I wanted to hang a disco ball above the dice.
Anytime you buy dice, we turn the light on. And when we moved,
disco balls are expensive, by the way.
Disco balls are pricey. Yeah, they are pricey, and the new store has ceilings that are 20 feet high.
Oh, I got like this big. It would just totally get lost way up there.
Yeah, it would be like the movie Spinal Tap when they lower the piece of Stonehenge and it's actually this big because it hasn't been done to scale. That's what. So the disco ball actually hangs in our office now.
Okay,
it's there.
But dice is a huge department now. Like dice and dice accessories is like huge for us now.
Oh, so COVID.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I love this.
So COVID. She starts to work with me, and it was great. And then we went to a trade show called Gamma together in 19.
No, it was 20.
It was early 20. And there were all these rumors. Gamma, they're shutting down the airports. We wondered if we were
It's the beginning of 20. It was in March of 2020. And we were just watching like, oh, they shut down the rodeo. Like that never happened. I was like, are we going to be able to get back home? We didn't know if we were going to come back home.
So we get home in April, the whole world shuts down and we had to shut down. So we did our best to keep people employed, coming in to do projects. We said, well, no one's walking in the door. Let's reorganize the whole store. So we pushed everything around. And
we were getting phone calls every day. And people were asking for like paint and paint accessories and miniatures because they had time to sit and do their hobby.
Yeah, they had time to pursue their hobbies.
And but we got, we were trying to do curbside delivery. And then we got in trouble for that. The fire marshal or whoever.
The fire marshal busted us for doing curbside delivery, even though if you look at the letter of the law, you can do curbside delivery. So people would pull up and we'd all walk out with a bag and almost like a drug deal, like hand them.
Well,
and then the fire marshal busted us for doing that, said, can't do that. And so we talked with them, we love our first responders. We said, okay, well, what can we do? They said, it has to be off premise. It can't even be in this shopping center. So then we were doing drug deal paint deliveries to the Target.
Oh my God.
Meet in the Target parking lot.
All right, we're at Target.
Well, me.
5 minutes. We drive over there with their models and their paint and their brushes, and through the window, we were processing the stuff online. And, so we reorged the store and said, okay, well, we have like $13,000 in the bank, but we're not paying rent and we're not paying the electric bill and no one's charging us for anything. We don't have shipments coming in. So we're either going to reopen with a bang or we're going to reopen with a whimper. And we decided to go bang. So we took a deep dive into some of the things that sold, some of the things that didn't. And we relied on people calling every day and saying, I'm looking for this. And
it was Warhammer. It was a lot of Warhammer.
Yeah, it was a lot of 40K stuff and Sigmar and paint. So we went from having, I think, the display cases for Warhammer, I think were 7 feet tall and 4 feet wide. We had 2 of them. We went to 22 linear feet, 6 shelves high of Warhammer, all the Games Workshop stuff, and added 3 new paint lines and accessories and all this stuff. So we really leaned into that, and I learned how to play. And I remember holding up a box of Plague Marines and a box of Orcs to Chrissy, and I said, I don't know this game. Which one should I play? And she said, well, the Orcs look like they're way more fun. I said, okay, cool. So I started painting and playing Orcs. And when we reopened, it was like a floodgate. People wanted that community. They wanted to come back and be with other people, which was really reassuring for us because it was scary. We said, well, what if nobody comes back?
Yeah.
What if this is online shopping, Amazon, et cetera, has always been a competitor, but what if all of it goes to them and people just give up playing in person?
Nope. It got to be standing room only in the store. I mean, so cool. It's crazy.
We put up these lucite barriers down the middles.
Yeah, in the beginning, we used to have to wear masks and
did the mask thing, barriers up, and it got to the point in 2021 where we said we either have to open a second location or move this one, because we were turning people away. They were coming in to play and all our tables are free. So they were coming in to play and join those communities and continue those friendships. We had no place to put them. So our center had some vacancies, and we went into what was a jump on in inflatables place, which has these huge ceilings and all this open space. We said, that's it. So in early 2022, we missed our opening by a lot. We thought, great, we'll be open in December in time for Christmas. No. And the contractors always take twice as long as they say.
yeah, absolutely.
So wound up moving in February of 2022, had this giant inflatable Millennium Falcon out in the parking lot. And it was when the space next door was vacant. With the gym there now, we could have never gotten away with this. We threw this giant thing out there, and we had overloaded the circuits in the space because we had stuff plugged in everywhere, and we were beginning to build out the tavern. And so every 5-10 minutes, the Falcon would just start to list and deflate. And we're going to run inside, go to the back, flip the breaker. But it was great. It was a huge day for us, and we reopened. And later that year, Chris opened the tavern, and we had no idea what we were doing with beer, wine, and food. No idea. At first, we thought, well, you tell them what we thought about the staff.
Well, we looked at a couple other comic stores that had food and beverage added. We went to this place in Colorado, which was tiny, and they had like part of their, retail space. And there was like a wall, and the other side of it was their game play space.
It's a great store.
Yeah.
And we looked at about 5 or 6 that did this kind of hybrid.
But they'd see somebody over there, and they'd jump over there and make their coffee, make their pizza or whatever. And, it was like just easy. So we thought, oh, we'll cross-train all of our floor staff to work in the tavern. And when they see someone in there, they can just jump in there and make the coffee. And then we knew that wasn't going to work right away. So then we had dedicated staff in the tavern. And we had originally hired somebody that had food and beverage experience as our manager. And they were going to, we didn't know. I'm like,
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can't do it, I'm going to hire somebody that can.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
and we hired staff. We have a very, very small kitchen. It's what used to be their pizza party room in the jump on in. We expanded one wall out a little bit and made windows in there, but we still use their little prep room where they made the pizzas and stuff as our kitchen. So it's like a tiny alley kitchen, and we were considering it kind of like a food truck size kitchen. So, but we thought, well, we don't have a vent hood, so we can't have like fryers and stuff like that. So we were trying to do everything in convection ovens.
Oh my God.
And
We had 4 of them at one point, stacked up.
we'd gone to other places here in town that do food and beverage that don't have vent hoods, and we got food from our distributors that were meant for ovens and stuff like that, and it just didn't work out very good at all.
It's like, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to get, if you're selling a comic, you can run in and make a burger. No,
it didn't work out at all. So we tried, but from the time we opened in August to like December, January, we had just continuously gone down like 20%. Like sales were just going down. Nobody was coming in the tavern. They would get snacks and drinks and coffee, but they wouldn't order food. We were sitting in there on a Friday night with some of our friends when it should have been packed in there, and nobody was in the tavern. And we're like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And it was the customer service of the staff that was in there. It was the quality of the food. It was the time it took the food to come out. Like, it was everything. Nobody wanted to go in there and eat that food. So he said, we gotta let the guy go that we hired, and you gotta take it over. And I was like, I just take it over. Absolutely not. And he said, you're the only person I trust to turn it around. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. There's no way. And I was like, the only way I'll do it is if you hire me a restaurant consultant to teach me everything, because I'm not going to go in there knowing nothing and try to do it, even though we did it with retail. But he did. We got a restaurant consultant. He taught me everything that I needed to know. We fired everybody in the tavern except for like 1 or 2 people, and we just turned around and built it up from there. It's gone up every year from now. We made major improvements in the kitchen with the equipment, with the electrical to be able to handle the equipment that we have now. And
added the vent hoods.
We added the vent hoods.
Got a fryer, put a flat top. I'd put our burgers up against anyone.
Yeah, we got better quality ingredients, better equipment, better people in there to get the food out. Like it's rocking now. It's really rocking. But we didn't know, and I would say that our kind of motto is say yes and figure it out as you go, and we do that a lot. Just say yes and like, okay, let's do it. Let's just do it. Like, because if we wait until we're ready, like the goalpost is gonna keep moving. And
absolutely.
moving. So we do it.
We were
implement, check your numbers, and then adapt as
Yeah.
you need to after
Yeah.
that.
We were sitting around in the early days of the store in the old location and said, I want a board game night. I want people to come in and play board games. I said, all right, let's just do it Wednesday nights. And so we made some posts and had 4 people, and I think we staffed up for that night, and we had more people, more staff than we did people that came in to play. But word got around, and then there were 10, and then there were 20, and then there were 40, and it was one of the best nights of the week. People just coming in to play board games, and it was cool. And that's the kind of thing is, all right, just do it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out. And
it's not going to be perfect at first, but that's okay. Like you said, adapt. Same with Comic Palooza. He was like, I want to do Comic Palooza. Oh, we can't afford that. It's too far away. How are we going to staff both that and this store and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, let's just do it. And he just got the smallest little space that he could and just grabbed a bunch of stuff from the store and went down there. That's before I was working there, but they had a ball.
We had a great time, but we had no idea what we were doing. We said, yes, we'll do it, to Comic Palooza, and got, I think, the last booth available. And it was like in between the restrooms and stuck way in the back. And we just brought a little bit of everything and a bunch of staff, and we had a blast. We had a great time and met people, and it was cool.
I love this. I love so much about everything. I had no idea the story behind y'all's business, but just that, you guys did not have this background, and you just were like, we're gonna do it, and then you just keep innovating. Oh, well, how can we make the experience better? How can we continue to give that experience to the community, build this community, and you figure it out. It's so cool. I think that's awesome. Where do you want to continue to grow?
Well, ultimately, we still haven't, I think, hit the full capacity of what we can do in our current location.
I love that.
We're constantly reinventing it. She makes fun of me sometimes that I'm always looking for how to make it better. I'm always looking for.
He's never going to let it be status quo.
Yeah.
I'm more like, you know what? It's not broke. Let's not broke. It's working. Let's keep it. It's working.
Yeah.
He's like, nope. Got to keep going, make it better, find ways to improve, different, vendors to bring in, better deals with different distributors. He's constantly looking for ways to make it better.
And we have a really, really good staff. I mean, our staff is outstanding, and the managers we have in place are really good. And I've been able to hand off a lot of stuff to managers now that I used to do. And I have a friend that's in the insurance industry, and he used to make fun of me that you're working in your business and not on your business. It's like, yeah, that's a great tagline. Cool. But it was true. And but that was comfortable.
Yeah.
Why? It was more comfortable to order paint or Warhammer or D&D or something and just do something that is rote and I can do, and I know I'm going to do it the way I want it, than, deal with a problem or try and come up with the next idea. It's comforting just to sit there and enter numbers.
Yeah.
Right. But now that I've offloaded a lot of that, it gives me a chance to think, okay, what's next?
Yes.
And next is we built a studio upstairs for streaming. We've talked about doing podcasts and streaming and stuff for, since 2017. And, we always say, it's a great idea. Let's do it. Oh, and then life gets in the way.
Yes.
So we finally built the studio and we're starting to use it. And so that's one of the next things. Store 2 is on the horizon. We're going to be opening a second location sometime.
Where in Houston, you would think about doing it, or I'm assuming it's going to be in Houston.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think we'll ever leave Texas.
Yeah.
But we're looking in the Bridgeland area.
Oh yeah.
We're looking in the Katy area.
Very cool.
Out there. I always thought it'd be super cool to have one right in the middle of Montrose.
Oh yeah, that would
because that community down there is such an eclectic and wild, and But then you look at the square foot of rents down there
And no park.
and no parking. You couldn't have 150 people in your gaming room because there aren't parking spaces. But those are the two next big things. We're trying to standardize on a lot of processes that we should have a while ago. We like to say that we started running before we learned to walk. So it was, hey, we're open. Oh, what the heck do we do about this? So there are some things that, how do you do a return the right way? And so we're documenting a lot of things, doing a lot of training.
All the standards of procedures, SOPs, getting those nailed down.
Right. And it's retail. So we have our fair amount of turnover, and you look up and realize that nobody knows how to do this thing because
it's just been passed down like word of mouth,
knowledge.
And then it gets skewed off in a little bit. And so it starts getting done the wrong way and you miss a step or whatever. But
yeah, that's definitely a learning.
And you want to get mad and say, well, aren't they doing it right? Well, you gotta
that's on me.
You didn't teach them how to do that. So we're standardizing a lot of that, implementing a lot more training. But yeah, so the store is big now and it's complicated and there's hundreds of thousands of SKUs of product, but everyone seems to still have a pretty good time.
Oh, absolutely.
Working there. I mean, we cut up and make stupid jokes and.
Well, we always say we have a lot of regulars, right? And then occasionally one of the regulars will apply for a job there. And we're like, it is so much different than what you're seeing out on the floor than behind the scenes, right? It's like work. It's a lot of work.
Exactly.
And, they think they're just going to come and play games and have fun and read comics and talk to people, but it's a lot more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, you are going to do all those things.
Right.
And the number one most important thing is you're going to create relationships with customers and you're going to create customer delight every day. But we like to call it the floor, the retail space, the tavern, the game room. That's all in Technicolor. And when you go in the office, that's black and white. That's where we hunt every last dollar of margin by comparing, right, if I'm going to buy this dice set, who has it for the cheapest? Who's going to ship it to me for free?
Or can I get it made on my own for a lot cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do I go through distribution or do I talk to the manufacturer directly?
Yeah.
And that's a major change now since 2016 is we used to order everything from maybe 4 big sources. And now we order everything from about 100 sources. And a lot of those are direct.
Okay.
Because we can get better terms. I can get it shipped quicker, whatever. And so for us to keep pricing competitive, you hunt all that. But that's all the stuff that takes place in the office.
Yeah. The back end stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people, and it's crazy because I look around and see all this great stuff we carry in these communities. And truth be told, I don't get to play a lot. I don't get to read a lot because the taxes need to be paid, payroll needs to be run, and all this stuff needs to be taken care of. I get to do more now because I have some really great people working for me that have taken on a lot of this.
So he's in a D&D campaign now.
I play on Monday nights, and I have a great group I play with. Jolene, Logan, Taiki, Katie, and Doug. Hello. And shout out to them. And we make really stupid off-color jokes and play and have fun and eat and drink and have a great time. And it's way more about that group than it is the game. Yeah. We've had some nights where we said, screw it, we don't feel like playing. We're just gonna
hang out.
We're just gonna go get a beer and we're gonna talk.
I love it.
So we're definitely people's third space. That's like a big buzzword now, third space, right?
Yep.
So we have people that come multiple times a week. They stay for hours and hours at a time. And that's what makes the tavern a little different than a regular restaurant is that we're not turning tables like a regular place.
Right, you're not just trying to push people out.
Yeah. So we try to keep the menu pretty diverse and change it out a lot so people it doesn't get stale, with people. Our thing is we do craft beer as much as possible. So local craft breweries, and I consider all of Texas local. So we have 6 taps and then a whole cooler refrigerator full of bottles and cans and try to keep the menu as
That
fresh
was
as possible.
getting 6 taps in that space was work.
Yeah, we don't have like a cooler. We just have a kegerator, so I can only fit slims in, which are these tiny kegs. They have 40 beers in each keg, and I could fit 12 of those in there.
But you ever go to like a nice house and you see they have 30, 40 taps, and
Yeah.
you look at that and go,
how do they do that? Where do they keep that?
You guys are so funny.
So we started with 4 and then expanded to 6. And one of the 6 we really wanted was Guinness. And then we had to get a separate regulator for Guinness, and because it has to be at a certain pressure. And then everyone had to be trained on how to pour a Guinness. But I love having Guinness. Yeah, we have lots of customers that love it. So yeah, we like to have locals.
Mm-hmm.
Lone Pint. We do. All the breweries.
Yeah, Southern Star, Lone Pint, Back Pew. We have a mead from Wildflower Meadery, and then Guinness is not local, but we have a cider that everyone loves so much that I can't seem to take away from them. So that's not local, but yeah, we have a lot of local breweries, in bottles and cans or on tap.
I love it. I love listening to you both because I think you guys highlight each other so very well, and you just like take each other's strengths and play to them, and it's so cool. I just think you guys are going to continue to do the coolest things.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's what's
awesome. Really is. It's sometimes you have to take a step back and look around and say, "Wow, this is a lot of fun." I get to go to a comic and game store every day and work with amazing people and work with them and take care of amazing customers. We have customers. Doug was customer number 1. He was like this in the window before we opened the first store. And, seeing him go through his education to be a 3D designer, and he runs some games for me and is in my D&D group, and he's in there every week. He's like family. A lot of these customers are just like family. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We can't wait to see what's next, really.
No, that's awesome. You've said a lot of really good things. One of the things you were saying is, when you hire people on, it's not just, like you said, you are going to talk to customers, you are going to play games, but it's not just that. And I think that's a big thing, is it's something that you are passionate about. But whenever you own a business, I think a lot of people go into it and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. But then they don't realize all those other aspects behind it that you're talking about. Yeah,
I don't know how anybody without an MBA could run this business. There's so many aspects to it and facets to it and whatever. That I don't know. I couldn't do it. I mean, I know he didn't have to do the tavern because I do that, but I couldn't do what all he does. It's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's a lot of aspects to it, especially with everything that you have added. Then you guys learned like a whole new industry. Yeah. So very, very cool. Okay, tell us, because I love them, but tell us about the cats. I love the cats.
Well, we always knew we wanted to have a store cat. In fact, that was, I think we came up with that before we came up with the idea where we were even going to locate the store.
Oh yeah, I was looking at cats immediately.
She's a huge animal lover, and so she finds this cat through a friend of hers that was in Dallas.
Yeah, the cat was in Dallas. My friend just sent me a picture of his face and said, "Do you want this cat?" And I was like, "Is that a Maine Coon?" She goes, "Yes." And I was like, "Yes." I don't know anything about the cat, but I want this cat. And it turned out he was in a hoarding situation, a very, very messed up situation. And they traveled to meet me. Like, I met him at my massage office and took him out of the crate, and he just like kept coming because he was so big. He was just like a cat. But then the smell hit me, and he had mats, and he was very sick, and he smelled like cigarettes and poop. And so I was like,
if he
will nurture him back to health, and he will thrive, and it will be
like sweet baby.
Yeah. And I brought him home, and he was like,
mortified. What is this? Because I thought store cat, Maine Coon, he's just going to be this great thing,
majestic,
walking on air, and she brings this just nasty, stinky guy who immediately hid under the dresser.
Yeah.
And I was like, great.
It's like, just give me time. So yeah, we got him all fixed up and took him to the store, and he was amazing. Like everybody loved him so much. We have a picture of it, but there was little kids would come in and they would want to read to him. There's this one little boy who would like want to read to Odin. He had like a bow tie and he had like a little tag that said, "Hello, my name is," like his work, work tag.
And you could dress him up. He wore ties, he wore sweaters, he wore hats. He didn't care. He was friendly to everybody, and he was very regal. And
he was just like nothing ruffled his feathers. Like he wasn't a skittish, like scary. He didn't hide. You know what I mean? He was just like
perfect store cat.
Yeah.
But someone convinced me he was lonely. So we got Freya when she was
a kitten,
that big, and she used to sleep in my inbox. And so we had Loki and we had Odin and Freya. And Odin always he wasn't the healthiest of cats. He had kidney disease, and he would crash, and we'd bring him home, and Chris would nurse him back to health. He even ran away in November for 10 days in the winter. And
when we had him at home,
yeah, we found
gotten out.
Yeah, we found him, and he had like a giant branch stuck in his fur, and he was just all man. So she nursed him back to health again. We brought him back to the store, and people noticed when he was gone. They wanted to see him. They wanted him on. It almost became a competition who could get Odin onto their table to hang out while they were playing. And so Odin passed in.
Well, we had taken him home kind of for hospice. And while we took him home, they didn't want Freya to be lonely. So we adopted, I didn't have anything to do with this, but they adopted Loki from the vet's office down the way.
Yeah.
And so he's a big orange tuxedo. He's an orange tuxedo. He looks like.
But he has no crazy orange cat behavior.
He doesn't. But he's up in his feelings a lot. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. He gets up in his feelings. He doesn't really. If there are too many people on the floor, he will go hide. He's just a big orange boy. But what nobody knows really about Loki is that if you get him in the right mood, he is friendlier than any of the others.
Really?
So you get up there and scratch on his head, and he will just love you forever.
He is very sweet, but he's just. Anyway, so we had Odin, then we got Freya, then we got Loki. And then Odin passed away, so we had Freya and Loki at the store. And then somebody brought in, one of our employees came to work one day and was like, "I found this cat on the way to work," because it fell out of the wheel well in the car in front of them, the truck in front of them. And so they had to stop. And they picked him up and brought him in. And Rob's like, "Not get another cat." And then he's like, "Let me hold it."
Let me hold it.
So then this cat is in his lap, and he's got a little busted up lip and stuff. And he didn't want to leave Robert's lap, and he loved Robert. And I was like, "Are we going to keep this cat?" And he's like, "I don't know. You decide," because he didn't want to. So I'm like, "Well, I decide we're keeping the cat."
I didn't want to say yes.
So then now we have Thor.
So we have this mythos thing going with Odin, Loki, Freya, Thor. And Thor is kind of a turd.
He's still a kitten.
He's a teenager, basically, and he harasses the other two. And we have a scissor lift in the store right now to do some painting and replace some light bulbs and stuff. And we can't keep him out of it. So we kind of wrote an internal procedure, like you have to check the scissor mechanism to see if the cat's in there before you go down. So yeah, he's kind of a turd, but also in the right mood. He's very friendly and very loving, and he likes to visit people and likes to be out and about. And when he's had enough, he comes back to the office and gets in his Pokeball.
Pokeball.
He has a Pokeball on the floor.
The customers bring toys for the cat. They do fan art for the cats. Yeah, it's a cat house Pokeball thing, but I call it his hermit crab shell, because when he's in there, you can just see a little bit of him poking out like a crab.
So that's kind of one of the things we're known for is cats. So we get reviews sometimes, 5 stars.
Has cats.
So it's like, great, cool, thank you. But yeah, they're part of the community too.
Yeah,
and
they stay out of the tavern. Like they'll go in the dining area sometimes, but they have never gone in the kitchen.
No, we're very careful to keep them out too. Yeah. So it's fun to talk to my accountant, and they say, why is this vet bill under the promotional expense? And I say, they're promotional.
Yes, absolutely.
Tax write-off, right?
Yeah, write that off, because they are part of our marketing, and they show up in all of our marketing. And, it's good to have There's some other stores that have cats, and there's some that we know a store that has a bearded dragon.
A bearded dragon?
Yeah, bearded dragon sits in a big old case on their floor. Hey, Phil. Other stores have store dogs.
Yeah.
The other Dragons R stores, most of them have cats, except for Phil with the bearded dragon. But yeah, they're a pain in the butt, but they're worth it.
Yeah, you love them.
Yeah, and then Loki, if there's a thunderstorm, so if there's ever a thunderstorm, you need to just hurry over because Loki will be super clingy and scared and cuddly. He'll get up on my desk and hide behind the monitor and just be there for the entire storm because
you always know when there's weather coming because he makes his way in there. Like, oh, must be bad weather because he doesn't come in the office a lot. They have so many places to go. Their food and litter boxes upstairs in the upstairs area, so they have the run of the place.
They are awesome. I love them so much. Okay, here's a fun question for you. DC or Marvel?
Neither. Independent. I used to read, I was a dyed-in-the-wool Marvel guy. Mm-hmm. My first comic ever, my friend Dan Evans gave me Uncanny X-Men number 159. And I read that cover to cover and was just hooked. And so the X-Men were my go-to. Mm-hmm. And if I had to make a choice between those two, I'd say Marvel up until recently, and then DC for all their absolute titles because they're just amazing. Batman. But I don't read a lot of capes and spandex anymore. I just don't. My tastes have changed over the years, so I read the weird stuff now. One of my favorite books is "Don't Spit in the Wind" by Stefano Carticelli, who's out of Italy. Not a lot of dialogue to the book, but it's post-apocalyptic, which I'm kind of a sucker for. And I love that story. Gideon Falls is a great book, I think, by Boom Studios that is really weird and really spooky and freaky. And it's all about, I'm going to say mental patient, but he's a mental patient who has been released and he's seeing visions of this black barn and how unspeakably evil it is. And his therapist is threatening to recommit him because he's wandering around the city and picking up pieces of wood and taking them home and putting them in jars. And what he's really doing is building the door to the black barn.
Oh, that's
crazy. And she sees this and says, that's it. And then before she can recommit him, she goes home that night and has a dream about the black barn.
Is that Joe Hill?
I can't remember. Joe Hill? It's I don't think so. I think it's great.
Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, and he writes.
Oh, okay. Weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Basket Full of Heads. That was one of my favorites, and that was a DC Hill House Press.
Okay.
So that was one of their kind of offshoots, but they did a lot of weird stuff. America Karate is a ridiculous book, funny and kitschy that I read recently. I mean, I like almost everything by Scotty Young. So no, neither.
Neither.
My favorite book in the world is Chew, which was an Image book. Chew is by John Layman and then illustrated by the awesome Rob Guillory. Rob's been to the store several times. He's a great guy. John's great. We've had them both in. It's about a not so distant alternate future where there's been a massive avian flu outbreak globally. And chicken is outlawed because of this.
Okay.
So chicken is outlawed. The most powerful government agency becomes the FDA because they're over food, right? And they employ SIBOpaths, these people that have superpowers, but they're based in food. And they're 100 different kinds of SIBOpaths, and they're all kind of quirky. One of them when she writes restaurant reviews, you feel it and can taste it. So they employ this guy. His name is Tony Chu, CHU, and he gets psychic images of how something died when he takes a bite out of it. Oh, no. Except for beets. Beets don't do it. So if he eats a burger, he sees how the cow was slaughtered.
Oh no, that's awful.
But imagine if he takes a bite out of a dead body. Right? He sees how they were killed. So it's fantastically written. It's gloriously illustrated. I love the book. It's a 60-book arc. So it was designed always to be 60 books, and then it ends. but it's funny. It's sick and wrong.
The art's good too.
Really, really sick and wrong in places. It's hilarious. It's thought provoking. It's touching. It's the only, and go on record, it's the only comic that ever made me tear up at the end because you get so connected to these characters in this story that it was issue 59 was the last real issue because 60 kind of wrapped everything up.
Right.
But at the end of 59, I was crying.
Oh, wow.
Great.
That's
Chu,
awesome.
C-H-U.
I might have to try
Sorry.
that.
Let me correct that. C-H-U was a follow-on book. C-H-E-W
Okay.
is the one by Lehman and Guillory. And then the protagonist's name is Tony Chu, C-H-U.
That's so cool. No.
Lehman then went and wrote another book, Chu, C-H-U, about Tony's daughter.
Oh,
So,
very cool.
Spin-off.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Rob didn't illustrate that one. So,
But, this one was always a nerd from, I mean, when I met him, when he was not a comic book store owner, he had a full collection of Star Wars memorabilia that took up like a whole room in his house.
original trilogy only.
It's true. And he likes to say, she made me sell it to pay for her wedding. I did not make him sell that. It was his
This is a sore spot.
She did. She made me sell it.
I did not make him sell that.
And I had a dining room, a formal dining room full of arcade games
That's cool.
that I'd restored. And I'm into fixing things and restoring things. I've restored a couple old cars. So I had these arcade games that I would strip down and restore and replace the artwork and the buttons and the joysticks and all that stuff. And I remember when my dad had moved back to Chicago, and the first time I think he talked to Christine on the phone when we were living in the Woodlands, he said, "You need to get your formal dining room back. Get him to get rid of those damn games."
Oh, no.
So we moved him up into the office, and she got her formal dining room back. But yeah, I've always been into nerdy stuff. I think nerd culture is pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows who the Avengers are. Everyone saw those movies.
Mhm.
Everyone knows what Pokemon is. It is pop culture.
No, this nerd over here is Ghostbuster nerd.
There you go.
All the Ghostbuster stuff. It's insane.
I
Saw the movie in the theater.
I may have even won one of y'all.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
And that year, and then the next year, someone came in dressed as me.
As an orc, though.
So we do a painting competition called Iron Painter, where you don't know what you're going to get. We have Doug, got customer number one, who is a professional artist now. He designs us a custom model.
3D printed.
And we 3D print them in-house. And then you show up on Iron Painter Day. You don't know what you're going to get. Set up your stuff. And at 10 o'clock, we give you the model.
As in
This
a
is
brown
cool.
paper
I
bag.
love this.
Instead of brown paper sack.
Yeah.
You get your model.
So everybody opens it at once.
And then you have 8 hours to paint. And at the end of that 8 hours, we remark them, judge them, rank them, and then we give away some fantastic prizes. And the heck was the point of this?
The orc.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the models is me. It's me as an orc from 40K. And Doug came in and scanned my face, and so it's me on this.
Wait,
and
it's him. It's an orc wearing a collared T-shirt, and he usually wears brown khaki cargo shorts
and sneakers. And so I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm walking around Iron Painter talking to the painters. Everyone's looking at my clothes. And then I got a couple of them that were done perfectly. They had the logo. They had my shoes. Yeah. And so then the next LairCon, I think, or Free Comic Book Day, when we had that next costume contest, we had one of our regulars who's an amazing painter and who won our Golden Odin, which is a kind of more formally judged contest. He came in dressed as that character. So with the power claw and the helmet and everything and the big Dragon's Lair logo on a stick, and it's like
I gotta find those pictures.
I've never been cosplayed before. So
That is awesome.
it's really cool.
That is way
It's like,
cool.
wow, Matt, that was okay.
Yeah, you guys have so many fun events.
We do a lot
cool.
of events. And the thing of it is, a lot of those events are free.
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
It's free to play.
It's free to
in
play.
Game room.
And that's why we have to be. That's why, from a business perspective, you look at the store is divided kind of 60-40 retail play space.
Mm-hmm.
The play space, because it's free, doesn't make any money.
Yes.
So you have to be really vigilant with everything else so that you can keep that play space.
Yeah.
When we do studies on sales per square foot, sales per linear foot of shelving and things like that, I'm really analytical. I like to get deep into those numbers to see, what to pull, what to keep. And when you look at the game room, and on most days, unless we have like a paid tournament, it's big fat zero on how can the retail business be healthy enough to support this giant game? Because I like having free events. We love having free events. We don't charge for table space.
Yeah, except for the private game rooms.
And you mentioned earlier, I think, our artwork.
Yes.
Most of the art in the store was done by customers.
That is so cool.
When we moved from the old store to the new store, we had a budget that we blew right through. And in commercial real estate, you don't get that back until the build out is done, you're occupying the space, and you're operating the store. So there was a lot of money sitting out there just in limbo, waiting for us to submit all the documents to get reimbursed. And we ran out of money. And so we put the call out to the community. I think we got on Facebook and said, we need help. If you can paint, if you can do any of these things, please come give us a hand. And they came out of the woodwork. And so, the entire back mural piece was done by Manuel, who is a graffiti artist. So that was all done with spray cans. And he did that nights and weekends for about a week and finished it up. And the office and the TARDIS door and the stuff surrounding the archway and the entire
gaming rooms,
all private gaming rooms. They're all themed. Those are all done by customers, some of whom had never done a project before. And they came in and busted it out. Room 4, Sauron and Friends was done by a tattoo artist, Ricky, and his girlfriend. And they just knocked that out of the park. Airbrush and freehand brushing, and it was great. And then room 3 has a really funny perspective. It's forced perspective in the corners. So when you look, the whole thing looks like it's moving. And you either love it or it makes you sick.
We had a lot of people that would not rent that room because it made them nauseous because of the way the wall is. Because you can't tell if it's pointing out or pointing in the corners.
It's gorgeous.
We call it the dungeon because it's all brick and the way they did it.
It looks like the old Doom video game, right? Mm-hmm. or one of those old turn-based adventures where your perspective changes from here to here.
But we were getting bottlenecked on the room reservations because nobody wanted to rent that room. So we had to I put up curtain rods, and I got curtains that look like stone with like ivy and stuff hanging off of them. And we had to cover up the corners. And then we put like a bunch of different ivy and stuff in the room to kind of make it more 3D. So if you want, you can open the curtains and have the perspective. If not, you can close it because people couldn't take it. Yeah. I'm like, it didn't bother me.
Room 2 is the Star Wars room. Room 1 we call the Wizard Study. And
this is so cool.
Yeah, and so those are all done by customers.
I need to go look at those.
Those are all done by customers, and we couldn't be where we are without. Even the floor in the tavern.
They laid our floor.
We were out of. We had the floor in the game room that was installed by crooks. Mm. It was an epoxy floor, and they billed it to us as it is bulletproof. You can't harm it. It won't scratch. And we're going to put this in, and it's going to look like this silver and black and gray swirling thing. And they put it in. It looks like
it's terrible.
And then immediately, like a month later, it begins to bubble and crack, and they won't return phone calls. And so, yeah, it was bad. We just had new floor put in on the game because of that. But so we had done that. We were out of money, and I found two customers.
Well, I had this tile that I had to have in there.
Yeah. Well, we bought the tile, and then 2 customers laid the tile.
Oh my god!
In the private gaming room, the hallway, and the bathroom, they laid the tile. It was,
this is a cool.
We were so grateful.
That you have.
Yeah, 100%. And then they helped us move, which was a blessing and a curse. It was great. We had 30 people that descended on the store, moved everything that we had packed from one store to the other. That was great. But then the unpacking You're like, okay, I found one of these. Where are the 59 others? Because we
got shoved in there.
hadn't thought ahead to say, put display items over here. And,
Right.
IT
People were
stuff
just
over
throwing
here.
stuff in boxes.
Yeah.
It was just, bleh. And so, months later, we were finding stuff like, oh, there's that thing. Even today, we find stuff stuck in a corner. We're like, oh, that's for that.
But I mean, yeah, they showed up en masse, and I think I want to say it was like President's Day. It was in February, so I think that's President's Day, right? And we didn't plan that, but they happened to be off work in school. So
Yeah.
they showed up and
showed up in force. And I remember we bought everyone lunch, and it was like a big party, and it was great.
They actually did a piece on Houston Life about that.
Yeah.
That is
About our communities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys have the coolest stuff. For our listeners who want to reach you, how do they, like, where is the store located? How do they reach you? Do you have socials?
We have all that.
So our address is 21155A Highway 249. We're off 249 in Louetta between Planet Fitness and El Palenque, stuck in the corner. And it's bigger on the inside. I'll say
it is.
It doesn't look that big from the outside.
No, but inside it's big.
11,500 square feet.
Yeah.
So the old store was very wide and then came to a point. So it was like 3,900 square feet, but way more in the front. And this is just shotgun all the way back.
Yes.
So it doesn't look that big from the outside, but when you get in, it's a big place.
Yeah.
And we have all the normal socials. We're actually in the middle of rebranding the store. So in April, we're going to go our own way, and more on that later.
Yes, absolutely. Keep everybody updated.
Yeah, but if you follow us on social media, you can easily find us at Dragon's Lair or Dragon's Lair Houston, and that will all change over when we
get that finalized.
We get there, yeah.
Okay. To be continued.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we've been open 10 years. It's just time to.
Yeah, no,
100%.
I support you guys 100%. I think it's a great move.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Thank you. This has been fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. You've been listening to Houston Hustle, celebrating the entrepreneurs who are shaping our city. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone building their own dream. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep hustling.